Welcome to Last Stitch Effort. This is my knitting podcast about using up my yarn stash and hopefully not buying any more. Anyway, my name is Pacasha. I'm joining you today from New Mexico, as always, and I kind of have a lot to go over. I missed a week because I had the C word virus that is all the rage again. I had it in September and I had it again last week, and things are better. I hope I don't cough because I try to do these in one take. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, we start with what I'm wearing. This is my Rochambeau cowl, like Carina Spencer. Yeah, and it's orange flower yarns in a colorway and base that I don't know because it was a mystery pack. This is a Sassy everyday cardigan. I think that's what it's called. And it's just, I'll stand up. It's just a little short little cardigan. I used Knitpicks Wool of the Andes in Dove Heather, and the pattern is by Bonnie Desroches, I believe. Anyway, and some socks, but I'm not gonna contort myself to show you those because they're kind of old ratty ones. Anyway, let's get on with it. I do have a finished object today. These are a pair of socks I finished for my daughter. And I didn't use a pattern, but I was inspired by I think they're Oni socks, O-N-N-I. I'm not sure, but they just had a cute little color work heart on them. And I just did that. I just looked at it and did it because you can do that. I didn't buy the whole pattern. I just used from my head. They don't even match. Well, they do somewhat, but this part doesn't. It's pretty close. Anyway, so those are done. That's West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply, signature 4-ply in milk bottle and candy floss. So those are done. I did do quite a bit of knitting while I was sick. There were a few days where I didn't have the energy to do that. And I'm working on some fiddly things, so the fact that I got anywhere. So the next work in progress we'll just do, because I talked about this before. I'm doing the Druid mittens by Jared Flood. They're also called the Green Autumn mittens if you got the pattern from Vogue Knitting Live. This is blowing out. It's not that bright in real life. It's kind of hard to photograph this color. But they are these mittens that have just crazy texture. I mean, it's really cool. It's better when there's some more, shading, when it's not just flat circle, whatever, ring light. So this is Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight in the color FC 39 mix. I don't have my glasses on. You can kind of see my lines. I usually do wear glasses, but they don't go well with the ring light, so that's always an adventure. Anyway, I've started these multiple times throughout the years since the pattern came out a bajillion years ago, and I recently moved to this color because I wasn't sure if 2 balls were enough. According to some people's projects in Ravelry, it was, but obviously I am almost to the end of this, and I just barely have enough yarn maybe to finish this, and I haven't done the thumbs yet. So I feel much better now that I ripped those out and started with a colorway that I have 3 balls of instead of just 2. So these are moving very, very slowly. I think I did like 10 rows yesterday, and I felt like I was knitting all day. So yeah, they're going really slowly. They'll be fantastic when they're done, but until then, you may have to wait a while. I may have to wait a while. The next thing that I've been working on that I've talked about before is a Barley shirker by Ysolda Teague. And this is a 1-color brioche cowl. And you start with just stockinette, and then you work brioche for about 4 feet, and then you twist it and join it. that's not all of the pattern, but so you get a basic idea of what's going on. This is for my husband Mark. I've made it a few times before, and he said that he would like one, and it makes a really nice fabric. So this is Knitpicks Shadow in Larch Heather, which is discontinued. Knitpicks discontinued a bunch of their olive shadow. I think you can buy it undyed and not dyed anymore, and it's like one of my favorite lace yarns. It's so soft, but what are you gonna do? Anyway, I think I was here right there where that stitch marker is last time. So I got a lot, well, I got a few inches of brioche. Considering I had to do 4 feet, I don't have a lot done, but this yarn kind of sticks to, like, if you have a hangnail or, you know, dry cuticles. So it's a bit annoying right now because it's so dry here. It's always dry here, but it's really, really dry here and cold, and my hands are a bit chapped. So that's moving slowly too. So that may have to get, I'm not going to say back burner because I will always, like, you know, keep it around. It's super easy to travel with. It is a bit fiddly because the yarn is so thin, and I don't know how to fix brioche very easily if I say drop a stitch. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to take as long as it takes. I'm not going to rush it. He's not in a big hurry for it. Yeah. It's just something nice that I thought he would like, and it'll happen. It'll happen. The next project that I'm working on is new. I haven't talked about it. This is the skein of candy floss that I used for the heart socks, and I have a whole bunch left, so I thought I would make my daughter just a plain, very plain pair of pink socks, and I kind of busted through the sock in like just a few hours. It's going pretty quickly. I couldn't sleep last night, so I finished and, you know, turned the heel and did all the decreases, so it's going really quickly. These will be finished probably by the next time I record. I don't know if I'm doing that on Thanksgiving or not. I may do it the day before. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, and these are my new needles. These are Licca. I think that's how you say that. All the years of people talking about the interchangeables that came out, and I don't know how to say it still. But these are just like hot pink ones. I thought that was really cute. So I think I'm getting a slightly looser gauge than the needles I normally use for socks, but it's not, like, I tried on the sock and it'll be fine. All right. Well, that's all that I have for works in progress. I guess since, yeah, I don't know. I was going to talk about another thing that might be on the needles, but I'll just wait. And I'm not going to do acquisitions anymore. It was kind of putting like weird pressure on me, like to own up, whatever. I mean, I already own up to myself, and that's hard enough, much less being responsible to own up to you guys too, or to feel guilty, or nobody's making me feel guilty. I should, you know, whatever. It's my brain, dude. Anyway, so I'm not going to do acquisitions. I'll just talk about things as I get them, and, you know, if I have a problem with yarn, I'll let you know. If yarn's great, I'll let you know. So we'll just move on from that. What I did do when I didn't feel like knitting and my brain wasn't total mush because of the dreaded C word. Are we not allowed to say it? I mean, I don't know. Like, people weren't saying it because it got flagged or something on YouTube. I don't know. COVID. Yeah. Yes, I'm vaccinated. It's been a while, and I was about to get vaccinated again, and then this happened. So, okay. Anyway, when my brain was at mush, like it is now, apparently, I did a little math. I actually went through my stash on Ravelry. I made sure everything was in there again, and of course, there's always something that isn't in there, and in this case I decided to add sock yarn scraps that I had already, like, said that I used up, or that were mini skeins that never got recorded, or just stuff I didn't want to deal with. But I ended up weighing them, and they were 503 grams, which is a significant amount of yarn. And I told you guys at some point earlier that I'm actually, like, I got rid of a lot of my sock scraps, and I was only keeping enough to do a few socks like this year, like only a year's worth of scraps to use for socks. And I feel like 500 grams is significant. I mean, that's like, that could be for me like 8 pairs of socks, you know, short, not short, but I have little feet. Like that's a significant amount of socks. So I decided I probably should include that in my stash. So I did kind of, I watch a lot of Retro Claude, who does like vintage and period like costuming. And she was doing a yarn stash, whatever. She was trying to get through her yarn stash, and she calculated all of the gram or all of her stash, and is I don't know how to say it, measuring it out by balls used, which are 50 grams per ball is what, it doesn't matter if it's like 100-gram skein, which is a typical sock, you know, skein. She counts that as 2 balls. So I was like, well, that'd be kind of fun to see like how many grams I have and how many balls I have, because I know I have 270 listings in Ravelry. However, that's not you know, some listings have like 20 balls, you know. So okay, I did the math and then I added some other stuff to it. So this isn't going to be totally accurate. So before I like messed around with sock yarn and stuff, I had 42,700 grams of yarn. And that roughly equals, oh my gosh, I need my glasses. I can't. Okay, I think it's 854 balls of yarn. That's a shit ton of yarn. Like, ridiculous. Like, what am I even thinking? So, new panic set in. I mean, I always know I have a lot of yarn. And then I went through a huge de-stash, like right after I started this podcast. And I'm so like focused on finishing this yarn. This is like this is sable yarn, and I do not feel comfortable with that at all. And sable, I don't know if you know what that means, but it stands for stash above and beyond life expectancy, and that makes me kind of feel sick. So I don't want to leave this behind. I'm kind of in a Swedish death cleaning kick. Well, for years now. Yeah, so I don't feel comfortable with having this amount of yarn, and it sucks because I know there are projects that I want to work on that I don't have yarn in my stash for, that's not appropriate, and now I feel like handicapped that I can't explore that. I can't do that. I can. I mean, nothing's stopping me. That's fine. And nobody's putting any expectation on me except myself. But my cat is snoring. I don't know. He's like in a chair, like my hand's right there. Like he's just right there. Anyway, he's kind of, well, he's feeling the yarn pain too, I guess. Anyway, so I just thought I would give you those numbers because I thought they were funny and scary, and I don't know. Everybody gets so silly about, oh, sock yarn doesn't count as stash and blah blah blah, but you know what, it does, and it makes an impact on our homes, on our mental checklists, our mental to-do list. Our families are going to have to deal with this at some point. It's not to make anybody feel guilty or make you feel judged, but I constantly live in this state of like guilt, of, as I've said before, eco guilt. Like, I'm not helping the planet being this way. It's not cute to be overconsumptive. Is that a word? Sure, it's a word. Anyway, I'm gonna have some water. Want some water? Drink some water. This is your reminder to drink some water today. Okay. That maybe kept me from coughing for a minute. I pulled out my hats, guys. So we're going to go through the hats that I have right now. Once again, my mom took several a few weeks ago. So I usually sit at probably double this amount of hats in my own personal usage. Obviously, I make hundreds of hats, but they're not here. Like, they're given away, or a lot of them are in my husband's hat drawer. He has a lot of hats. Anyway, let's just start. This is Angel Hat by Kay Jones. Once upon a time, Kay Jones of the Bakery Bears sold yarn in her shop, pardon me. And this is her like chunky one. I think it's called Cottage Castleton. And the colorway is Jewel Garden. And it is like one of my favorite hats. I made it for Ngaio. She kind of didn't care. So lovely. I mean, I don't mind at all, because this yarn is, there's no way that the camera's going to capture it, but it glows. Like, it is so pretty. And this is actually one of my favorite hats. Not a single pill. It's in perfect condition. I've worn it tons. It's perfect. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the pattern. Kay always writes fabulous patterns, no matter what they are, but this is a favorite. And I used up like almost all of it. Not quite, but I mean, I probably could have made it a little slouchier, but that's okay. I got a Blythe doll hat out of the leftovers, so that worked out. Okay, next is the Sidewinder by Aspen Leaf Knits. This is Malabrigo Rasta and Anniversario. I think that's how you pronounce it. And it's a little tight, but it's super, super cool. Like, that is such a cool stitch. It's not my favorite just because it's a little bit tight, but it's not like constricting tight. It's just kind of doesn't stay on exactly how I want it to tight. So this may go to somebody else with a smaller head. I do have quite a big head. A big old round melon. But yeah, it's pretty hat. I like it. Rasta doesn't hold up as well because it's a single ply. So it's a little fuzzy, but I haven't worn it much. I think I can still give it away to somebody, and I don't even think I've worn it out once, now that I think about it. Anyway, that may go to somebody else. This is my Lombard. It's supposed to be a tam, but I made a beanie, and I've talked about this before because I made matching mittens this summer, and it's actually in one of my, what's it called, thumbnails? Anyway, this is all like Knitpicks palette, pretty much. And it matches a pair of mittens, and it's supposed to be a tam, but my gauge was off, so it became a beanie. Doesn't matter. Love it. Nice colors. This is Jaffrey by Michelle Wong. I'm going to have everything listed down below. I won't have links. I'll just have the names so you can either Google it or stick it in Ravelry, however you prefer to find your information. But this is Jaffrey by Michelle Wong. The yarn is Cauldron's Path Silver, which you can't really see it very well. I'll hold it up in a second. She was a dyer, or she is a dyer, but she's no longer dyeing, I don't believe. And this is a colorway that back when I was dyeing, I did fiber and she did yarn, and we used the same dyes and got kind of wildly different, I don't know, interpretations of it, but I thought it was pretty. It doesn't look great on camera, but it looks really nice in real life. So yeah, that's a special one. She was a special friend of mine. So anyway, this is the Perfect Reversible Watch Cap. I've talked about this pattern before. It's by Nancy Elizabeth Monroe, and I've made a bajillion of these. I have two here to show you. This is another Cauldron's Path, so it's not available anymore. And then this is like some, I don't know, weird alpaca that I found that's just like the tiny little brim. Anyway, it's kind of hard to see this too, but it's kind of that oil slick petrol raven color. I like it. So this one is the same pattern. However, I didn't do the ribbing. I just knit straight. Well, I did do ribbing. And I just used leftover sock yarns to do some color work. This is a little label from Knitting I Love. Anyway, this is the color work, which I love. And I think I showed you guys the matching mitts. But simple little hat. This one is called Hat for Joy by, I think it's Jacqueline Shu. And it's Madeline Tosh DK Twist and Esoteric. And a lot of these, like, they're just not translating well, like, just because of the lighting. But it's got some really good, like, cool cables in it. So I don't know if you can see. They're not cables. They're just twisted stitches, but it's kind of hard to see. Anyway, it's a really cool hat, and I love DK Twist. I think Matt Tosh is amazing. Speaking of, this is my favorite Matt Tosh color. Okay, Tart may be my favorite. I don't know. It's fighting it out with Whiskey Barrel. This is the Elk Pass hat by Lone Larch. It was Jenny, who used to have a podcast, and I really, really loved it, and I wish she would come back, but it's just a really simple, like, textured pattern. And I'll hold it up. Whiskey Barrel is like a brown, but it's got some, like, blues in it, so it looks like an aged old Whiskey Barrel. Imagine that, guys. Imagine that. Anyway, I love this hat. It is so squishy, and it's got that slouch when you just want to slouch instead of a beanie, like pressing your hair down. Okay, I don't talk enough about the fact that I'm a spinner. You know, I broke my leg this summer, broke my ankle. So I haven't really been spinning because you kind of need that movement, and that just hasn't worked out for me very well. And I really need to get back into it because it would be a good exercise. This is sugar maple. The pattern is sugar maple. The fiber was Hello Yarn, Bracken and Gorse on Teague. And yeah, so I spun that up and knit me a little hat. And it's very simple and it's very soft. It's one of my favorite breeds, Teague, to not necessarily to spin, because it is kind of things like merino, things with a short staple that are kind of floofy and marshmallowy. They're kind of hard to draft out evenly for me. So if you're ever like, if you're a beginner spinner, I wouldn't recommend super soft stuff. Get some rough stuff that drafts well before you, to practice that drafting anyway. Anyway, we'll talk more about spinning when I'm spinning again. I really need to do that. I thought about doing it this time, but it just didn't happen. Okay, this one is Ruthven by the Petite Knitter. This was part of Ysolda Teague's color work club a couple years ago. And it's all Rama Thinul yarn. And it's got a nice little slouch. And it's got, oh God, can you believe it? I hate corrugated ribbing, and I did it. I did it, guys. Usually I try to avoid it, but anyway. Simple little hat. It's a little bit itchy. It's a bit rougher yarn, but it's nice. If it's super cold, you don't feel the itch. The second I start warming up, I feel the itch, which is when I take off a hat anyway, because let's face it, I don't get cold anymore. It's my new superpower. This one I have written down as mystery hat, and then as I was checking, as I kept like researching all my hats, it's actually the Chucko beanie by Courtney Buckalow Kramer. And this is another hat that I spun for. And this is Hello Yarn. Gosh. Mignardi? French is not. I did take French in school, in high school and college, but it's been a minute, and I have nobody to speak French to, and I should have taken Spanish. But I thought I was going to art school in France because, you know, I'm so humble that way. So anyway, it's really cool. I really like hot pink with super light, like light blue. I hate light blue normally on its own. I don't really like hot pink that much on its own, but together they are, I don't know, can you see it if I pull it in? No, you can't. Together they are a beautiful romance. And so, yeah, it's kind of hard to see. It's awesome. Just take it from me. It's awesome. Okay, now I have my berets or tans, however you want to call it. I make them a lot. I love making them. I love wearing them. I've given so many away lately, and that's kind of a bummer. I need to make some more because I really, really like wearing them. This is Ann Budd's basic tam pattern from her Knitter's Book of Patterns, the green one. See, it's just so cute. Like, you get little piggy tails, and I don't know. I don't like this band. I think I chain plied it so it kind of striped a little bit more. This fiber was Hello Yarn Merino, and the color was Damp Earth, which was a club colorway from a while back. I think I need to put some elastic. If you just run like that super thin string elastic along headbands, I don't know if you knew that trick, but I only just started doing it myself. So, okay. This one, oh, I dropped them. Okay, basic tam. This is the same pattern, except it's a thicker yarn, and I did a little umbilical cord tie at the top. That's the technical term. This is Murmur by Hello Yarn, which was a club colorway on Polworth. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like it. That hurt my eyeballs a little bit. Yeah, like that. I like the little knotty nipple. Not K-N-O-T. Okay. I'm getting a little spunky in my old age. Anyway, December Lights by Mary Joan Mucklestone. I think I've talked about this before because I have matching mitts. It's a different pattern, but they're a similar motif. This is from an interweave, like holiday gifts, accessories book, and it's Knitpicks palette. It's kind of hard to see the colors. Let me see. So it's cream and edamame, opal, heather, bison. I think I said raspberry heather once upon a time when I was talking about the mitts, but it's really salsa heather. And there are ends that have not been woven in, even though this was finished years ago. That's not typical of me, but I thought that was pretty, super pretty from, you know, I'm 5'2", so, I mean, really, it's just a gift to taller people to make a hat with a beautiful top. You're welcome. All right, this is the Schwook by Hazel Tyndall, and this one is the last one, and it's very special because I modeled the colors off of Alex Langland's vest from, I think it's BBC's Wartime Farm, and the Farm series, there's a bajillion of them, and my favorites have Ruth Goodman, Alex Langlands, and Peter Ginn, and they are like my favorite people ever of all time. And I wanted to copy his little sweater vest, but I didn't want to make a sweater vest, and I didn't have all the colors right, but I just guessed. Oh, look at that. That's ridiculous. I made this forever ago. Like, the Ravelry pictures are with my kitten, who is now considered an elderly cat. I have not worn this much because it's ridiculous colors, like absolutely ridiculous colors. But if you look at like some of the accurate stuff from the 40s, when this was super trendy, some of the colors were crazy because they were using up scraps, like literally using up scraps. I think that whole make, do, and mend, wartime, you know, you have coupons, so you got to use your leftovers because you don't have enough coupons to buy underwear for the next 2 years. Yeah, I think that's just such a cool thing, and I like to work within that mindset. I think we probably should all do that. I mean, while austerity is probably a hard thing for people to live by, there's nothing wrong with actually wanting to have less and use what you have creatively and ridiculously. So, I mean, we have a tomato red, we have a deep teal, we have a color called limeade heather, for crying out loud. Mongoose. I don't know what that yellow is, but it's hideous. But I love it. I don't care. I'm going to wear it as we say goodbye because I have nothing else to talk about. Do you like your tans like that? Like, is that... I can't do that. I have to be slouchy because it makes me feel Parisian with my fantastic French. Okay. Yeah, I don't really have much to talk about. Things are okay. Thanksgiving is coming up. We have decided to have ham instead of turkey because 2 years ago I got a turkey, and as it was thawing, it was rotten. I think it was frozen when it was bad, and I can't get that smell out of my brain. It's been 2 years now. Not interested in turkey anymore, which is a bummer because I used to love it. But my husband is from another country. My daughter hates turkey. My mom is coming, and I mean, I'm sure she's going to miss the turkey, but at this point, not worth the $30 to me. So we're having ham. I need an adult to talk to in real life so I don't do this to you. Because my husband does not give anything about knitting or ham. Anyway. I feel better. Well, I'm still coughing a little bit. It's not a joke. Get your vaccine. I always get sick when I get a vaccine, but it's worth it, I think. And not to get preachy about that, I'll probably get flagged now, right? That's what this is about. I don't know. Yeah, I got a little wheeze still. I don't know if you can hear that, but everything is good. People are good. People are better. And now I'm just making silly faces. So maybe if I sit still long enough, it'll do a good thumbnail. No, it won't. I have a hard time with thumbnails. I have a hard time doing any of the technical stuff behind the scenes. So anyway, I would love to know what you're working on. I would love to know anything that you want to share. I am sorry I have not gotten back to comments. I just haven't had the brain space, but I do now, and I would love to hear from you. Love it. And yeah, find me on Instagram, Ravelry, down below in the comments here on YouTube. Anywhere, just let me know how you're doing. Because if you're listening to this, I care about you. I really do. And I want to know how you are. And I want you to be good. Like, I want you to feel peace. And there's not a lot of that, but in the world today, oh my God, shut up. Okay. Bye, y'all. Have a great week. Love you. You are a fantastic human being, and we need you here.